Hello everybody, welcome to Spirit 23. It's a daily devotional series from Trinity United Methodist Church in Seymour, Indiana. So if you had a map of the United States about that wide, threw a dart at it and it's stuck about right here, about halfway top to bottom. And from the East Coast, about 1/3 in, it'd be close to Seymour, Indiana. So I invite you. If you happen to be close to the area, stop on by. We'd love to see you. We'd love to have you in the sanctuary. Our international watchers, and we do have international watchers. If you ever have the chance to get here, we'd love to have you too. So today's devotional is not really a devotional. Kind of, sort of, maybe. It's more of a testimony. I had the pleasure this past weekend of going on a walk to Emmaus. If you don't know what a walk to Emmaus is, I highly recommend that you look it up. There are international walks to Emmaus, so they're happening all around the world at various times throughout the year. Our walk to Emmaus in this area happens twice, one in the spring, one in the fall. There are men's walks and women's walks. So my walk was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. My walk has been about 15 years in the making. Our previous pastor, who's retired, although when you're a pastor, you never retire, he had asked me many times, hey, would you like to go on this walk to Emmaus? And I'd always come back with, I'll think about it. I had some people in the church, hey, why don't you go on this walk to Emmaus? Not right now. And then our current pastor, Pastor Angel, you've seen her here on Spirit 23, she asked me a few times, you ever had anyone in your life, especially a pastor, who would take no for an answer? She'd ask, I'd say no, and she'd work on me a little bit. She'd ask again, I'd say no. She'd work on me a little bit. She asked again, I said yes. Not what I normally would answer with. I said yes. So Thursday, we paw things in the car. We drive to the retreat, and I didn't really want to be there. I had said yes, so I was going to stick with my commitment. But I really didn't want to be there. Because you always have these preconceived ideas of what things like this might be. In my previous line of work before I retired, you'd always have these team building days where you always had to do these role-playing things. What if, blah, blah, blah. You'd act a little bit, and that's not me. I'm more of an introvert than an extrovert. And, kind of like where you stand there, and then by blind faith, you expect the person behind to catch you as you fall, kind of thing. And that's not what Emmaus is all about. So remove that fear from your thinking. So Thursday night arrives, and I didn't want to be there. One of the catchphrases of Walk to Emmaus is, don't anticipate. Because what you think is coming is not what's going to happen. God knows what's going to happen. You don't. And that works out pretty well. So Thursday night, they have a meet and greet. And after the meet and greet, guess what? Total silence for the rest of the evening. And also, let me say, you give up your cell phone, you give up your watch, you are totally cut off from the outside world. Which, if you're like me, that's a good thing. No more cell phone ringing, no more cell phone dinging. I would have liked to have had the watch, though, because it would have been nice to really know what time it was. But no cell phone, no watch. Don't anticipate. So we go through our evening of silence on Thursday. That rolls into Friday morning, and then we have communion. And after communion, silence is broken. We go to our talks, 5 talks per day, 5 on Friday, 5 on Saturday, 5 on Sunday. All the talks are different. And Friday, I still didn't want to be there. There were some other things I could have been doing instead of taking this walk to Emmaus. Saturday came, things were a little bit better because you get to know the guys in your group. You get to know the pilgrims a little bit better, so that kind of made me more at ease. And I don't want to give too much away. If you're considering a walk to Emmaus and somebody else has been on the walk and you ask them questions about what the walk was about, there's not going to be too much information forthcoming because they don't want to give anything away, because they want anything that you experience in your walk to Emmaus to be your experience and not what you might anticipate. So Saturday comes and we have a service, and I will give you this one. It's called Dying Moments. You go up, you go to the altar, kind of like communion, but you're tearing off the bread and you're just putting it in a basket. You're not partaking. You're going up there to confess to the Father. So as your team sits in a row, as I was sitting there watching the other teams go up, listening to men, grown men, give confessions and break down. As sitting there, I'm not an emotional man, and I cried. Our turn to get up and go to the altar. As I was standing there, on the wall next to me was a list of folks from Thursday all the way through Sunday that were praying for us every half hour. And there were other Emmaus walks around the country and around the world that was praying for our walk specifically. And I felt the need to reach up and touch that list, and I cried again. And it was my turn to go to the altar. And I reached up and tore off a piece of bread. I cried like a baby. And I got up and went back and I cried again. And at that very moment, things changed. It flipped 180 degrees. Any anxiety, any dread, any desire to be somewhere else was gone. It was at that moment I knew this is where I needed to be. But don't anticipate. Remember? So Saturday evening comes and there's these buses that come, and we're told to get on these buses. We're going somewhere. And so we arrive at our destination, parking lots full of cars. You get out of the buses, we walk in, we're told to be quiet, but they're singing in the sanctuary. I thought, great, Maybe we're coming to a concert, or maybe we're just coming to have service. That's awesome. And so finally, after about 30 minutes of standing and being quiet, we're led towards the sanctuary. And the closer you get to the sanctuary, you get around to the front of the church where you walk into the sanctuary. And I'm not going to give too much away, but there's a row of candles for this Emmaus. Now, other Emmauses may be different, but I don't think so. But there's a row of candles, and you're walking through this row of candles. And you look inside, and you see these candles waving back and forth. Awesome. This is going to be a candlelight service. But it's not. Don't anticipate. But what happened inside, I cried again. Sunday comes, more talks. We get closer to closing ceremonies. And each one of us pilgrim have to get up and answer 2 questions. And I cried again. What started out to be a sincere desire to be anywhere but on this walk to Emmaus led me to finish this walk in a overwhelming desire to go back. So my prayer for you today is that you consider a walk to Emmaus. If you have the possibility of one close to your area, even if you have to drive 1 or 2 hours, I pray that you go. If you want to sponsor, message me. And the most important thing, don't anticipate. God is there before you are. God knows what's happening next. God will be there when you least expect it. He was for me. De Colores. And thanks for watching.